game.
Imagine a place free of problems, scams, and thievery. A place where comfort is your only concern. Imagine Comfort Time Live. Imagine, if you will, a man who can single-handedly help you with your decisions about hiring contractors. It's the one and only, wait, he's stepping out of the phone booth. There he is. It's Tom Britannia.
Dun-da-da-da!
Hey, what are you doing here on a Thursday?
Well, Lois Lane was busy at school tonight, so I figured I'd stop by and play with the little people for a little bit.
Oh, goody. We love it when you come around.
Welcome to Comfort Time Live, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to one of the best shows on the Treasure Coast right here on WPSL 1590. And you're probably asking yourself, well, first off, haven't heard of Comfort Time Live because this is our first Thursday evening show. It's right about 6:07 here on Treasure Coast. Now, why do I say that it's probably one of the best shows or the best show is because we're one of the few shows that solely dedicates itself to protecting you with the things that you do on a daily basis in your home. Anything you can think of, from hiring a business within your company, to learning about taxes on your house, to learning about scam and fraud.
Scam and fraud?
Scam and fraud.
It exists out there?
And in fact, we're going to be doing, we've already started the shows, but we're going to kind of stop and take a little breather to kind of reintroduce you to Comfort Time Live. But then we're going to start over the next month or two where we're following a survey that was done by the Consumer Protection Agency of America. So a lot of great stuff. We're going to touch base on that, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why we're here. Give you folks the number to call, 340 or 772-340-1590 if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. I personally specialize in heating and air conditioning. That's my knowledge, that's my background. But over the 4 years of doing Comfort Time Live and the hundreds of guests that I've had on the show, I've become kind of a connoisseur of other things in the home.
You mean some things that we normally don't think of all the time?
Believe it or not, there's a lot of things that we don't think of until it's too late.
Oh, yes.
And then at the last minute, we make a rash decision, and we're kicking ourselves. Hindsight 2020.
So if you've been there, done that, you know what we mean, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, it's why they say we learn from our mistakes. Well, I'm here to help you to not learn from your mistakes. I'm here to help you to stop making that mistake in the beginning. By educating you just enough. We also want to share our experiences. Right about now, you folks are probably getting home from work. You know, you've come home, you've opened the door and kissed your beautiful spouse hello or good evening. The kids have run to you with open arms. Daddy, Mommy, I love you.
The birds are chirping because you've pulled into the driveway. The dog is excited and barking. The grass on the lawn applauds you as you approach.
Absolutely. You walk in, the sweet smell of the cooking is just emanating through the house.
And then you find out that you're the cook.
You gently kick off your shoes, and you hear in the background the sound of Comfort Time Live on WPSL 1590, and you say, I'm going to sit down with a refreshing beverage. Now, Cliff's refreshing beverage of choice is coffee.
Yes.
My refreshing beverage of choice is maybe a little Grey Goose on the rocks with a little splash of cranberry.
Is that what you got in that little canister? Oh.
Well, if it was this color, there would be a lot of cranberry.
Oh, that's right. There's no cranberry in that.
Well, it's that's just water right there. I gotta wait till I get home before. No drinking and driving.
Right. It looks just like water, though.
Yes, it does. If you get the good stuff.
It's clear.
But no, I'll wait till I get home to have that.
Okay.
So you kick back in your favorite chair, you slip off your shoes, and you squinch your toes in the carpet, and you kick back and you get ready for a nice experience. Because we talk about a lot of different things, but what we want to do is we want folks to be able to call into the show, or another way, if you're on the shy side, is we have created a website, comforttimelive.com, and you can do all kinds of stuff from that website. You can watch the show. So while you're sitting at home, log right onto the internet, go type in haphazardly, depending on how many of those refreshing beverages you've already had, haphazardly type in Comfort Time Live into the address bar, and the first 3 or 4 pages will pop up Comfort Time Live.
All right.
And you can even Google my name, and the first 3 or 4 pages have come up. My daughter brags about it all the time. You know, the kids, she goes, type your father's name in.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah.
pops up. She types my name in the first 3 or 4 pages, and it's all good. There's nothing bad.
Wow.
I paid a lot of money to get the bad stuff off. No,
Yeah. You paid the ransom.
I paid the ransom. No, nothing bad on there. But just to show you that I'm an outstanding citizen and that I'm here to protect you and educate you. But the show revolves around the questions and comments and concerns that you have, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to pick up the phone, and you need to call 340-1590, or you need to go to the chat room in comforttimelive.com. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the video and audio on the left-hand side. Well, you actually won't see the audio. You'll hear the audio.
You'll see the audio with
See
your
the
ears.
video and hear the audio.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
And you'll see the chat room on the right-hand side. So if you're a little on the shy side, chat in with us there, and you can ask your questions. Anything you want to know about when it has to do with your house, if I can't get the answer for you, I have many, many professional guests that have been on this show over the years. I can email one of them very quickly and get you an answer, and I'll email you right back with that answer. We've had H&R Block on the show.
Oh, yeah, it's getting that time of year again.
It is.
Too long.
We're going to get them back on. Kathy and Jeannie from H&R Block have been here, and I tell you, you want to talk about some bright individuals.
They were some of the first guests on your show when you first started this.
They were the very first guests on my very first show, which we're coming up to again, but it was
Wow.
April 4th of 2009
Wow.
was my very first show. And to let you know how well we've been doing, February, let's see, the date in February will be is February 7th, will be the 400th episode of Comfort Time Live.
400 episodes.
400 episodes.
Wow.
And the reason being, you kind of wait a minute, the math doesn't work out right. If you've been doing it close to 4 years, how do you got 400 episodes? Well,
I know.
how?
Well, you have 52 weeks in a year.
Right.
4 years, there's your...
That's a little over 200.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
remember,
But
for
then-
almost 2 years,
Uh-huh.
we were doing 2 shows a week.
That's right, you were doing 2 shows a week.
Yeah.
And then also, you also have something going with Blog Talk Radio.
Absolutely. On Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock, I broadcast on Blog Talk Internet Radio, which is just, it's almost as successful as WPSL. I have over 24,000
Wow.
viewers, listeners on that, and I actually was just yesterday announced as a featured host on their radio station.
How about that?
So very, very happy. So you don't become a featured host for nothing. So that means that there must be something enticing about this show. There must be something on this show that's worth listening to. So stay tuned. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns about what we're going to be talking about, do not hesitate to give us a call at 340-1590. All right, we're looking at about 6:15 right now. So some of the stuff, again, that we talk about on the show, my biggest focus when we started 4 years ago was air conditioning, on helping you to understand how to buy an air conditioning, how to keep it going, how to hire the right contractors. But then it started to evolve due to listeners calling in and asking questions about, well, what about a home inspector? Well, what about buying or selling my house? Or what about taxes on my house? So, well, just like everything else, if you don't change, you go away. So we constantly are changing based on what our listeners want. So that's what we've provided. So you just give us a call. Now, we're going to have some real special guests, and after our first break, which, well, not a break. We're not taking a break right this second, but in a little bit, we're going we're going to talk to you about. We're going to tell you who our special guests are that are going to be coming up on a show here next month. But I tell you a little before we go to our first sponsorship ad. I had a little situation today, just bugged the heck out of me, and I really want to talk about it because the show focuses on scam and fraud, and we're going to be doing the next month or two on the top 10 things that were found in the United States to be the biggest scams and frauds according to the Consumer Protection Agency.
Okay, so these are the most common scams.
The scams that were most complained about.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll go into some details about that. But I have my websites through an organization called Intuit.
Okay.
Okay. And, well, I did a lot of work, as you know. I've done a lot of work trying to get my website up on my own, and I just got to the point where I wanted a little bit of professional help. So they were offering a special, for X amount of dollars. They break it down into monthly payments for you, okay, make it easier for you. They do a web design, they do a search engine optimization for you, and it's 6 payments of X amount of dollars, okay? So, okay, everything's agreed. They redo the whole entire website for me. It looks beautiful. They're constantly doing search engine optimization for me. I see these little things. Months go by, 6 months go by, 7 months go by, and I still keep seeing these reoccurring charges on my card.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's a reputable company, so I'm thinking, okay, well, what's going on here? Well, it slips my mind. I don't get around to it. Well, now the 8th month comes by, and I see another charge. So I call them up today. Well, of course, nobody answers the phone.
No, they don't need humans.
They have you on hold for over 30 minutes after you got finished pushing 36 different buttons. Well, push 1 if you speak English. Why do I have to push 1 if I speak English?
You understood what they said when they said for English, press 1.
If you don't speak English, you should have to push the button.
So, I get it.
If you speak English, push 1. What do I? No. So after being on hold for 30 minutes, I got frustrated with the phone. I hung up.
Should just press the 0.
So I always do that, and then it just goes around. That's an improper.
Yeah,
that's an improper selection.
Yeah.
That's an improper selection. So I go on the website, and I'm searching all over for more phone numbers. Finally, I find live chat. Okay. Well, have you ever been able to read somebody's words and you can kind of get an understanding of maybe they're not from the United States?
Yeah, especially if they spell with an accent.
Well, that's what this individual was doing. He was spelling with a very strong
My name is Peggy, how can I help you?
Well, after being online with this guy for a girl for 15 or 20 minutes, and I couldn't tell whether it was a guy or girl from the name.
Okay.
I'm like, listen, and I'm typing this in, can you find somebody that can help me with my problem? So he transfers me to another department. Now I'm still in the live chat.
Sure.
Typing this stuff in. So get the big chat box up, and I'm typing away, and I'm typing away, and I'm getting nowhere. So finally, I get this other person online. I got to start all over again.
Oh yeah, you got to tell the whole story.
The whole story all over again. So, well, come to find out, in the fine print that was underneath the fine print, it specifically says that if you no longer want the service at the end of the 6 months, you have to call to cancel. Okay? Well, of course they don't tell you that. Now, when I originally spoke to the first lady, she told me that. I said, well, what happens after I pay the $750? She goes, well, it'll revert back to what you were originally paying. Okay. Well, when somebody says that to me, I'm thinking, okay, I didn't ask the right question. So because I didn't ask the right question, I don't get the right answer.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, okay, well, you know what happens when you assume? I'm assuming that, okay, it's going to automatically go back to the $40 a month that I was paying. Well, no, that's not. You have to physically call and cancel it and tell them that you no longer want their search engine optimization and web design services.
I was going to tell you, Tom, you know what? You could do that yourself once a month in 5 minutes. I do it for like 20 sites.
Yeah.
Once a month I get a thing in the email telling me that it's time to resubmit my sites. And I just go in there and I spend about maybe 20 minutes on maybe 30 sites or so. And,
yeah.
And I'm done with it.
Yep.
For the month.
Yep. That's it.
That's what I need to do. How much were you paying for that?
Well, the whole
people.
web design and everything was $149 a month. And then included in that was search engine optimization. And so once they finished the web design, they just kept gouging you. Yeah. Well, after I threatened to call the Better Business Bureau and blah, 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 I got a nice refund on some of the months. And,
that's good.
They canceled everything. But, lesson learned. Here I talk about, for a living, I talk about scam and fraud, and this is the stuff that happens to you. So I guess the moral of the story, don't let anybody auto-debit anything out of your account.
Right, and especially if you're going to do any business online, read the fine print.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah.
My fault. Shame on me. Here I am talking about it. I'm a victim of my own problem.
You see a similar, I call all these kind of things scams. I see them on cable companies. Like cable and satellite network systems, where $24.95 a month for 6 months. They don't tell you how much it.
And it goes to like
$80. It goes up to $80 from $24.95 a month to $80 a month without notice at the end of that 6 month period. And you got what, a 2-year contract?
Skyrockets. Yep.
2-year contract.
You're stuck. Well, when we come back here in a minute, we're going to tell you a little bit about the guests that we have, the special guests that we have coming up on the show in February. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what the Consumer Protection Agency of America found and what our upcoming shows. You're listening to Comfort Time Live on WPSL 1590. I'm Tom Platania. We'll be right back.
Did you say Consumer Protection Agency?
Yes.
Isn't that an oxymoron? Just kidding. We'll be right back.
Known for helping you keep that spark, now they'll help you keep cool. Elite Electric and Air, the official air conditioning sponsor of Comfort Time Live, has provided the best in heating and cooling customer service since 1988. If your electric bill is costing you more than 12 cents per square foot under air, you may be overpaying the utility company. Elite Electric and Air can help put that cash back in your pocket. Call Elite Electric and Air with 24-hour service. Dial 340-3797. That's 340-3797.
$3.2 billion per year are stolen from unsuspecting homeowners who lack the proper education to deal with home contractors. Hi, I'm Tom Platania with Comfort Time Live. Comfort Time Live is an independent call-in talk show focused on educating homeowners to protect themselves from unlicensed contractors as well as less than honest contractors. Go to ComfortTimeLive.com to see all our recorded shows, watch us live, or view tons of information to protect and educate yourself.
Every Thursday evening at 6:05 on WPSL 1590. WPSL Digital 1590 presents Storm Track Weather from News 12. Now with a look at the evening and late night forecast, here's Chief Meteorologist John Matthews.
Mostly cloudy and breezy to finish out our Thursday with a good chance of some showers through midnight tonight. This is all part of a cold front that's going to deliver a big change for us. So our temperatures, instead of being in the 60s tonight, will be in the mid-40s. And a strong gusty wind, too, out of the northwest around 15 to 25 miles an hour. Tomorrow, a partly cloudy day. Temperatures right there in the low 70s, but some morning sunshine for sure. And there's your weather. I'm CBS 12 Chief Meteorologist John Matthews on WPSL Digital 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And thank you, John. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, WPSL, Digital 1590, and News 12. The ones to turn to on the Treasure Coast for up-to-date weather and news.
And now, back to Comfort Time Live with Tom Platania.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Comfort Time Live here on WPSL 1590, 626. And I don't know if it's raining outside yet. I'll have to go check.
Supposed to get some cold air coming in tonight.
Yeah, my wife said that she was down at Stewart she goes to college down there, and she said it was pouring down there.
Well, these cold fronts usually have some rain at the front of them.
Yeah.
So,
I tell you, I like it when it starts getting a little chillier out. Open up the
yeah.
windows and, get rid of that stuffy air conditioning and just nice breeze, snuggle up underneath the covers. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So we have all kinds of special guests coming up, and our first guest that's going to be coming up on February 14th is Dr. Sylvia LaFair. Now, Dr. Sylvia LaFair, she is the president of Creative Energy Options Incorporated, which is kind of, I guess you would say, a global consulting company that, helps with stress. Stress-related items in your home, stress-related items at work. Now, what we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on stress in the home. She's going to talk to us about how you can avoid what causes stress. So that's going to be a real great show coming up, and real excited. Dr. LaFair is very well known in her in the area that she practices, and I think that's going to really help me out. I'm anxious for that show to find out what I can do, because I get stressed out sometimes.
No.
I let some little things stress me out. So, and then we got a really great guest, which is awesome that this guest is going to be on the show at this point in time, because over the next month or so, we're going to be talking about scams and fraud, and we're going to have on this station, WPSL 1590, we're going to have Stephen Weissman, who is an attorney and practices really helping a lot of folks with scam and fraud, and that's one of his fortes. In fact, he's got multiple websites, and when you go on his website, just about anything you can think of, he's got listed on there for scam and fraud, and he keeps it constantly updated with local news of different scams and fraud going on around the United States. So pretty impressive. But he's also going to be a guest on February 18th on Blog Talk. He's going to be a guest with us. Now, typically we do our Blog Talk show Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. But unfortunately, because of his time restrictions, we're going to have a special show on Blog Talk on the 18th, which is Monday, on that show. So Stephen Weissman, attorney, that's going to be a really good one, because he really understands what we're talking about here on the show, and he's lived it, being an attorney. So he's going to be able to really speak from the heart. Now, the show that we've been focusing on, I'm going to touch base on it briefly here. The show we've been focusing on was from the Consumer Federation of America. Now, what they did is they had the North American Consumer Protection Investigators who received complaints in the year of 2011. However, it takes them about half a year to compile all the information, get it into a good record, and then be able to release it to the public. Now, since I found that this year, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we get this report for the 2012 year, and we're going to be able to compare a lot of the information that we had from one year to the other. And you will be amazed at the top. Some of you will, some of you won't. But you'll be amazed at what the top 10 complaints are. And right before the end of the show, we're going to go through each of those top 10 complaints, and you're going to be shocked at what some of them are. But the thing is that every single one of these, I guarantee you, at some point in time in the year, every single one of us is involved in one of these opportunities for scams or fraud. Every one of us. Every one of us.
We're that vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you won't realize it. You will not realize it until after it happens. So now, here's some disconcerting news about the Consumer Protection Agency. The one thing that I like about them is that unlike federal government, the state and local consumer protection agencies are able to get involved and mediate the individual complaint. They actually can get their hands dirty. Okay? So they're not passing the buck. A lot of organizations, whether they want to or not, they're forced to pass the buck. For instance, right here in St. Lucie County, the city of Port St. Lucie, or any city, when a contractor is a state certified contractor, and he does something unethical, okay,
Who are you going to call?
the local municipality can only restrict his permitting privileges and send a letter of potential reprimand to the state.
Okay.
But they cannot pull his license if he is a state certified contractor.
So a local municipality can't.
No. So he could defraud somebody, he could steal from somebody, but they cannot take his license away from him. They can restrict his permitting privileges,
Right.
which says that, well, you're not supposed to do work here, but you think that's going to stop a contractor who's doing something bad already? No, they already know they're doing something wrong. That means it's just they're going to keep doing it wrong. They're just not going to pull a permit when they do it. Now, what they can do is they can send letters to the state, but their hands are tied. So once again, it's like they have to kind of pass the buck.
Right.
Well, with the consumer protection agencies, what they're able to do is get down and dirty, get their hands involved in it, make the phone calls necessary, and they even have the civil and criminal authority to help stop a lot of these unfair, deceptive, or fraudulent practices from happening. So whether you like government agencies or not, this is one that, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't had a chance to use them. Okay? However, a lot of the cases that I've been reading about, it seems like they did the best that they possibly could with a bad situation. And a lot of these circumstances are from people who have done things that, unfortunately, they didn't read the fine print. Or they didn't do their due diligence, which is, a lot of this scam and fraud that we see today is because we didn't do our due diligence.
And sometimes because we're greedy.
Exactly.
If we're greedy, they'll play upon our greed, knowing that we're going to fall right into their hands because we think we're going to get something for free.
Yep. 772-340-1590. Have you had an experience with the Consumer Protection Agency? Was it good? Was it bad? Give us a call, 772-340-1590. You don't even have to say your real name. You can just tell us that your name is Joe.
I'll say, my name is Peggy.
All right, so now, unfortunately, here's the frustrating part. Now, we've been hearing more and more about scam and fraud as the years go on.
Right.
Because these guys are getting more educated with what they're doing. And every time you stop one thing from happening, they figure it out and they find a better way. I mean, look at all how complicated the fraud and scams are on the stock market. And these Ponzi schemes going on for so long and so many billions of dollars. Well, it's because of technology and whatnot that these people were able to get away with a lot of this stuff so much easier, but also the ability to do a lot more of it.
Right.
Well, because of the state and local governments tightening up their belts, a lot of these consumer services are considered non-essential.
Non-essential.
Non-essential. Well, I'm going to read you some statistics, Cliff, and you tell me if statistics like this are would consider these protection agencies non-essential.
Okay.
There was 37 agencies that were involved in this report.
Okay, 37 agencies.
37 agencies. Now, out of those 37 agencies, they've reported 289,732 complaints in the year 2011. Okay? Now, let's take a look at that statistic. Statistically speaking, less than 30% of consumers complain
Uh-oh.
about something. Okay?
They just grin and bear it.
When's the last time that you pick up the phone to complain to somebody about something that happened in their place of business?
I see what you mean.
Probably never,
Right.
or maybe once in a great while. Okay, most of us don't. So out of that 300,000, let's think of that as maybe being only 30% of the potential complaints that were out there. So that's basically 1 million complaints that realistically were out there, but 700,000 of them decided,
Not to get counted.
I don't want to be bothered with this. I'm going to move on down the road. Okay?
Collateral data.
Well, out of those 37, 35 of the agencies provided information about how much money they recovered and saved some of those consumers in that year. Now, once again, we got to think of the numbers. And the other thing we have to think of is that this number for dollars that were saved was not 100% of the money that was lost. It was only portions of what was lost by the consumer.
Ooh.
Okay?
So they really got away with a lot.
All right. Here's the staggering number. So out of 300,000 people, or actually 289,732, $146,714,069 was recovered from the scam and fraud artists that took these people to the cleaner.
That was recovered.
That was what was recovered. Imagine
what was stolen.
Yeah. Now, let's take that number and say, well, if only 30% of those people, so let's say there was 1 million people, and we're looking at 150 million.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting into the billion, close to the billions here.
Yeah.
And the government says that this is a non-essential organization? That's ludicrous.
Well, if they're going to say goodbye to about 700,000 complaints as if they never happened, that would make them non-essential.
But I guarantee that the people involved in making the decision that it's a non-essential service, if they had been involved in the scams or fraud, it wouldn't have been cut. 772-340-1590. Give us a call here at Comfort Time Live. If you have, maybe you feel differently. Maybe you think that they are worthless. Maybe, I don't know. Let's pick up the phone. Give us a call here at the studio. Tell us what your opinion is. Doesn't have to be the same as mine. Even if it is the same as mine, give us a call here at the studio. But for instance, Camden County, which is in New Jersey, their Office of Consumer Affairs was closed due to budget cuts.
Who needs it?
But I guarantee you, if I looked at the local budget for Camden County, you'd probably see that there were no cuts in payroll from the governors or the big politicians there.
Oh, of course not. No.
You probably saw that there was more money went back in their pockets. Now, politics is for a different show on WPSL, so we'll leave that to the other guys to talk about. But it frustrates me because as something is on the rise, we're cutting back from the protection of what is causing it, and it's very, very frustrating to see that. I think our heads are not in the right places when it comes to things of this nature. Now, some of the biggest challenges that these 35 agencies that reported, you're going to be absolutely shocked as to what they said their biggest challenge was. Well, if you have a guess, give us a call, 772-340-1590. And when we come back, we're going to tell you what that biggest challenge was, unless somebody out there can give us a little clue. And
we have some smart consumers out there.
If you can guess what the biggest challenge for these 35 agencies were on trying to catch these people, I'm going to give you a free one-time tune-up on your heating and air conditioning system, or a free inspection of your electrical system from Elite Electric and Air, one of our great sponsors. So give us a call, 340-1590. Out of those 35 consumer protection agencies, what was their biggest challenge in that year on catching these frauds? You're listening to Comfort Time Live. I'm Tom Platani on WPSL, and we'll be right back.
Known for helping you keep that spark, now they'll help you keep cool. Elite Electric and Air, the official air conditioning sponsor of Comfort Time Live, has provided the best in heating and cooling customer service since 1988. If your electric bill is costing you more than 12 cents per square foot under air, you may be overpaying the utility company. Elite Electric and Air can help put that cash back in your pocket. Call Elite Electric and Air with 24-hour service. Dial 340-3797. That's 340-3797.
Elite Electric!
We can do it!
Elite Electric!
There's nothing to it!
Elite Electric!
Ooh, amazing!
Elite Electric!
Woogie, 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 woogie!
Elite Electric specializes in all of your electrical needs, from security lighting to surge protection and everything in between. How do you think they got their name? Elite Electric. Elite Electric has been family-owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1988, and they're recommended by Comfort Time Live. Visit online at eliteelectricandair.com and learn more about their services. Elite Electric. Service today. Proud sponsor of Comfort Time Live every Thursday evening at 6:05 on WPSL 1590.
No matter what you want, just pick up your phone, say, come on, Elite!
And we'll get the job done!
We can do it!
Elite Electric!
There's nothing to it!
Elite Electric!
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now back to Comfort Time Live with Tom Platania.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Comfort Time Live on WPSL. 340-1590, the number to call here at the studio if you have questions, comments. Maybe you got your mouth full of that absolutely wonderful food that was sitting at the dinner table waiting for you. Well, go ahead and chew it up and swallow it and give us a call here in just a minute, collect your thoughts. And you could, maybe you might know what some of the top 10 complaints are from the Consumer Protection Agency.
Some of the top 10 biggest, most common reported complaints, huh?
But out of those 35 agencies, they said their biggest challenge was the budget cuts from the cities. I mean,
shouldn't the cities have some concern that the consumers in those cities would be able to hold contractors accountable to what they're supposed to be doing?
it's like taking a boxer, handcuffing him, and throwing him into the ring. Here, win. What am I supposed to do? Headbutts are illegal.
Well, or you know, if you want to keep the cornbread safe, just throw it in the chicken coop.
Yeah, I like
the
that
chickens
one.
will guard it.
I like that one. It's, I don't know, it just really bothers me. It bothers me. You have an opinion on that, give us a call, 340-1590. Now, the top 10 complaints.
Oh, boy. You're going to start with number 10 and work your way down?
Absolutely. Work our way down
like
to the
David
number
Letterman
one.
does? All right.
And while I'm working my way up, if you can tell me what the number one complaint is from the Consumer Protection Agency, you'll win one of those prizes we talked about earlier. A free heating and air conditioning inspection tune-up, not just an inspection, a tune-up, and or a free inspection of your electrical system in your house. And I tell you, getting an inspection on your electrical system can save you a lot of money, because believe it or not, there's a lot of things in your house that are probably pulling more energy than they need to, and perhaps just a kind of a twist of a screw or tightening of a nut can get that fixed up for you. So, number 10. Household goods. Now, what that includes is, now, this household goods was actually, the year before, was number 7 on the list. So it actually dropped down a little bit. Now, what household goods represents is its misrepresentation, failure to deliver, faulty repairs in connection to furniture or appliances, or when we're talking about home solicitation, which is misrepresentation or failure to deliver in door-to-door, telemarketing, or mail solicitation, and do-not-call violations. That's kind of on the uprise, the do-not-call violations. I think it's less than it was because of some of the laws that are in effect, but once again, these guys always find a way to get around it. Number 9, which I'm surprised this one's a lot higher, is real estate. Now, real estate, as it Now, last year it was not, or excuse me, 2010, it was not in the top 10. So in 2011, which is what this report is, it actually brought itself up into the top 10. So it means it's probably on the uprise. And as we get back into the home sales and whatnot, as they start growing again, it's probably going to grow even more. But we're talking about timeshare sales and resales. Retirement communities, we don't have any of those here in South Florida. And assisted living facilities, we don't have any of those here either.
No. They're everywhere, folks.
And, of course, real estate fraud. We've had some real estate folks on the show that talked a lot about the fraud and how people were getting taken advantage of. Now, I saw recently on the news that there was one going around where they were renting or leasing houses that were foreclosed and owned by the banks.
Ooh.
So these people were going and they were pretending that they were renting the houses out, taking deposits on the homes, and then the people who were supposed to be moving into them found out that this guy didn't own the house and that it was owned by the bank, and now they're SOL.
Yep. Simply out of luck.
Simply out of luck. That's exactly what that phrase stands for. I don't know what else it could have stood for. All right, number 8. Now remember, if you can guess what number 1 is before we get to number 1, you win one of those great prizes. And I tell you that they're worth a lot of money, especially right now. If you're thinking of, times are tough, you're trying to put some money back in your pocket and you want to get a free tune-up on your heating and air conditioning system, now is definitely the time to do it before it gets too cold or before it gets a little bit too hot again. So number 8, they have listed as just fraud. Now what fraud determines is bogus sweepstakes and lotteries,
Oh, yeah.
work-at-home schemes.
Oh, those are the big ones.
That's a big one.
You always have to send money.
Yeah.
You have to send them money.
Yeah.
So, that doesn't
Give us $89 and we'll send you a packet on all the
And if you follow the instructions, we'll pay you for each piece that you put together.
grant offers, fake check scams. Here's a good one. The grandparent scam.
Oh, yeah. This is your grandson. I'm in jail in Canada. I'm in London and I'm in trouble. Can you send money by Western Union?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, and other common frauds, standard frauds that you would hear of. Number 7, now this one is definitely on the rise. Internet sales. Number 7. And now what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, you're listening to Comfort Time Live. I'm Tom Platini on WPSL 1590, and we're talking about the top 10 the biggest complaints from the Consumer Protection Agency from 2011. 2012 has not been posted yet. Probably won't have that until June, so we're talking about the 2011 one that was posted up. So when we talk about internet sales, we're referring to misrepresentation or other deceptive practices, failure to deliver online purchases.
Ooh.
Now, so you need to make sure they're very reputable. eBay has a good thing going, but still, it's the person who's sending it to you.
I tried to buy some software off of a site that had Better Business Bureau on it, and guess what? After the transaction, it told me that I was doing business with a company in Russia, and guess what? I never got the software.
Uh-oh. So you've been a victim.
Oh, I've been a victim, yeah.
And you know what? Every single one of us, something on this list, whether you want to admit it or not, you've been a victim of.
Even if you were walking into the convenience store and that poor hungry fellow standing there that asked you for a quarter and you felt bad and handed him a $10 bill, thinking in your heart you've done good and you're going to get to go eat, well, you just supplied his crack habit money.
Or 20 minutes later, when you walk out the door, he rips it off and there's a suit underneath, and he's doing some.
Yeah,
they've done that before.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
You see some of these homeless folks go around behind the place, get in their Rolls Royce, and go back down to Indian River Drive and to their condo.
I don't park my Rolls Royce out and back. I usually keep it down the road.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is landlord-tenant. And we're talking about that. We're speaking of unhealthy or unsafe conditions, failure to make repairs or provide promised amenities.
Well, you've got some tenants out there that do some pretty darn nasty things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When they know they're going to be leaving,
Yeah.
or like when they had these houses that were foreclosed.
Oh, yeah.
They gutted everything. They foreclosed the house. They go into the house, and one of my realtor buddies told me all the appliances are gone. The air
tongue and
conditioning
groove flooring's
system's ripped
gone.
out. Everything. It's all gone.
All the copper pipes are gone.
Yeah. They ripped the electrical wiring out. I mean, just everything is gone.
They just gutted everything.
Everything is gone. So deposit and rent disputes and illegal eviction tactics, which that's on the uprise as well. Number 6, services. Now, services are referring to misrepresentation of or shoddy work, failure to have required licenses.
And you need them for certain services.
That's exactly it. If you are not familiar, now each one of these topics, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to be able to hear a whole entire show on each one of these topics. I got tons of detail on each one of these topics, specifically what issues people have been who have had issues and were taken advantage of. So, I mean, all kinds of stuff. So if you hear one of these topics that piques your interest, make sure you stay tuned to Comfort Time Live right here on WPSL, and you're going to find out a lot of information about that to help protect yourself. All right? Don't let the money come out of your pocket. Let the money go back in your pocket. And the required licenses is a big one, or failure to perform the services that they originally promised.
Right.
Now, number 5, care of Florida Pillage and Loot, utilities.
Now, there's a scam going on using FPL right now on the phone. Somebody will call you and tell you that you're behind on your FPL bill, and we're going to shut your lights off right now unless you make a card payment right now.
Ooh.
And it's been in the news lately, and this is fraud. FPL doesn't do that. I mean, you're going to get a light bill, you don't pay your light bill, they'll cut you off. They're not going to call you and taunt you about it to compel you to pay right now. That's a scammer that's going to get your money, and you'll still have to pay your light bill.
That's exactly it. If anybody does that, just get a phone number from them. Ask them if you can call them back.
Yeah, hey, I'll call you right back. I'm real busy. Give me a number.
Yeah. Oh, no, we'll call you back. Okay.
Okay, call me at the state attorney's office. I'm
Yeah,
sitting down there
here's my
waiting for you.
phone number.
Yeah.
So utilities, basically service problems or billing disputes with phone, cable, satellite, internet, electric, and, of course, gas service. If you have any questions, comments on any of these topics, give us a call here at 772-340-1590, and you'll be able to touch base or just tell us which one of these you might be interested in. All right, so we have number 4.
Ooh, getting down to the wire.
Dun, da, da. Number 4 is retail sales. Number 4 on the list. Now, retail sales was actually number 3 the prior year. Dropped down a little bit.
That's when you go to the store and you buy something, bring it home, and it's not what you wanted,
Well,
basically.
false advertising.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Bait and switch advertising.
Exactly. Or deceptive practices, defective merchandise, problems with rebates, coupons, gift cards. Gift cards are on a big rise right now. People scamming with gift cards.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about that on the show. And gift certificates, and also failure to deliver what was promised. Okay. Now, number 3, near and dear to my heart,
Uh-oh.
home improvement and construction.
Uh-oh, there we go.
Oh, that's going to be a good show. I know a lot about that one. That includes shoddy work, failure to start or complete a job.
Wow.
So we have all kinds of information on that one. And number 2, this is a big one, credit and debt scams and frauds.
Ooh.
Now, this includes billing and fee disputes. Now, I don't know why this one wasn't under real estate, but they put it up here. Mortgage modifications and mortgage-related fraud.
Right.
Well,
right.
wasn't that basically what the whole entire crash was? It's because of all the mortgage fraud?
Yeah.
You know? Selling these people these only thing you're paying is the interest, and in 3 years it goes up to 26.5%, and your payment on your house is $6,000 or something like that.
That's crazy.
That's what all the mortgage stuff was going on, all kinds of things. Credit repair, that's a big thing, where these companies call these folks that are having credit issues and try to get them out.
This for you.
And it's a scam.
Yeah.
Be careful. Debt relief services, predatory lending, and illegal or abusive debt collection tactics.
The Vinnie Hakalugi Collection Agency.
I'm not ashamed to admit it. I've had a couple people call me sometime in my lifetime where I've gotten a little bit behind, and I tell you, some of these people, they don't care.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I had a lady once tell me, she goes, I said, are you calling me because you want this money now? She goes, well, I didn't call you for my health. I called to collect the money. Well, maybe you'll be healthier when I hang up on you.
In order to collect a debt. And then, well, you get a cell phone, and it belonged to somebody who ran up a bunch of debt, and for years you get calls for the person that used to have that number.
Yep. Well, luckily, when I got my phone number, 882-5700, I actually sat there with the guy at Verizon when I first got it for a half hour, because that's for my business line, 882-5700. For a half hour, and he kept refreshing the screen because I told him I wanted a number that was like had zeros in it, like a 5,000 or a 57 or something like that. And finally he came up with the 882-5700, and I snagged it.
Something easy to remember.
Yeah, something easy folks can remember.
Like the year you were born, 1957.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
Exactly.
Tom's a young whippersnapper.
That was your year, wasn't it?
Well, no, I came along the next year.
The next year. Yeah, I'm 69.
Well, it was the 57 Chevy back seat that started it all. And then I came along in 58.
That's a topic for another show.
Yeah, on maybe on some satellite network or something.
Yeah, well, we can talk about a lot on that show.
We can't do that on this.
All right, and the number one, drum roll.
Okay, the number one consumer complaint.
The auto industry. The auto industry is the number one consumer complaint in America.
Now, wait a minute. Now, are we talking about the consumers that buy the cars, or are we talking about the folks with the pension plans that work for the auto company?
Misrepresentations in advertising.
Lemons.
Or sales of new and used cars. Lemons. Faulty repairs. Leasing and towing disputes. Now, next week's show right here on Comfort Time Live, next Thursday at 6:05, we go live. We are going to talk about the auto industry.
Okay.
We got a whole show. We got all kinds of great stuff. We got ways that you can protect yourself. Don't forget to tune in to ComfortTimeLive.com. I appreciate you listening this evening. I'm Tom Platania here on WPSL 1590. And we will see you next Thursday at 6:05. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
And, of course, ComfortTimeLive.com is the website. You can watch it there and live here on WPSLTV.com. Just tell all your friends that Comfort Time Live has moved to Thursday nights. So, hey, we'll catch you next Thursday right here, Tom. Folks, that's it for our live local fun broadcasting. ESPN, America's #1 sports network, coming up after the news.